Hello everyone, my name is Bree and welcome to Documented Journey. I know a lot of you have been asking for this, so here it is. These have been my favorite supplies for the moment, we'll say. I kind of have it laid out of how I want to talk about it, so let's start with paper. I am no expert with paper. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still not 100% sure what I like, what I don't like. I did buy this Arteza 100% cotton cold press for watercolor. So far, I just made this little bitty book in here, and so far this is a field note size, which many of you know how much I love field notes. It's just easy because you can just like finish a painting, you know. You can spend 5 minutes, you can spend 20 minutes, but you get a finished painting, so it's so satisfying. That is what I put in here. I just bound this myself. I have used gouache on it, and then watercolor. I would say it's fine. I haven't decided if it's my favorite yet because I also have this, which is a Stillman and Burn. This is also with my new pattern, which is called Mums. Couldn't remember that for some reason, but this is Stillman and Burn. This is I think it's the green cover, so it's one of the heavier weights. It's cream paper. I enjoy this, especially for gouache. It just goes on really nicely. The pages do buckle some. So my only holdup with this journal is the fact that in each signature, it has an area that couldn't be a full spread. And in this area, it gets a little, do you see that? The paper starts to pull up a bit and it kind of just gets a little hairy. Like these spreads are fine, this is fine, but then bam, you get that glue section again. So you couldn't do a full spread. The paper starts to kind of pill up a little bit. This is my holdup with most sketchbook journals. Here's your glue section again. So as much as I do enjoy the Stillman and Burn, it's probably the one that I would repurchase a lot. And I might repurchase the Pentalic Aqua journal. Those are my two. I still prefer mine because in the section that would technically be a glue spot, I don't add glue to my journals. You get a space, you don't get the glue. So you can still use this as a full spread. I don't know, personal preference, I understand, but in no means will I ever have to worry about the glue. And then also I think the glue and the pilling happens because the glue's pulling away from the paper. I don't know. Anyway, this is, like I said, the Arteza or Arteza 100% cotton. So far, so good. I'm not saying it's my favorite. It's just working out for now. I don't know. I need to do more research on paper. So if you have favorite papers or something that you really, really enjoy, put them in the comments for me. Maybe I can check them out after I've used this up, which I don't know, could take forever or it could take no time at all. It really just depends on how the creative juices are flowing. I'm going to put that aside. The next thing I wanted to talk about is paint. So I have these containers or bags, and each one has different paints. So in here I have Daniel Smith. I love Daniel Smith. I have just a plethora of them. What I did was I bought a dot card, and then from the dot card I purchased the paints. I love Daniel Smith because, one, they apply to the paper so well. For the most part, they are vegan, and I have been painting with these since I was in college. So I'm very, very familiar with these. So Daniel Smith, setting those aside, I really like those. The next watercolor brand I really, really like is a handmade watercolor it's called Letter Sparrow. I've talked about these numerous times on my channel. I love her paints. They are so pigmented and the color payoff's really nice. They apply nice to the paper. They work well together and with Daniel Smith. They come in this Art Toolkit palette, which also I enjoy. You can get them on arttoolkit.com, or Kelly does have these on her website when you have the choice of like this or a different palette, Kelly from Letter Sparrow. So I think that I think that's a really cool combination. I think these paints and this palette go really well together, and I could not ask for better handmade watercolors. I've tried many, and these are by far my favorite. The next paint I have recently gotten into is gouache. I know a lot of you guys have asked me about this and possibly doing some videos on gouache, and it's coming. I'm just dabbing my feet into the pond a bit. Like I don't know exactly how my technique is going to translate. So I just want to get really comfortable with it before I present it to you. But that's with anything. I try, like, for instance, I'm going to share some brushes with you. I've been trying those brushes for over 3 months before I'm even recommending them, because I want to make sure that they're good. So I want to make sure that when I do a tutorial or present to you some watercolors or some gouache, I want to make sure that I really like them. So I have tried gouache before. With all that being said, I've tried gouache before and I hated it. It was acrylic gouache. But I went ahead and purchased this gouache, which is Holbein Artist Grade Gouache. I really worked through pages. I mean, I not only did these, but I also did a whole sketchbook full of other practice sketches or practice paintings. And I really feel that the technique that I use with watercolors with my layering technique really works for gouache as well. I purchased these Holbein 5 milliliter tubes in a 12 pack. And then what I did was, I know gouache because I did my research, and you're going to need tons of white. So this is the white already compared to like the yellow. So I went ahead and I purchased a separate white, you know, just so that way I would have it. And then I also purchased a moss green because this is my favorite color and I really utilize it a lot in paintings, as you can tell. And then I also purchased a sepia because in this set, it only came with a burnt sienna and an ivory black. And so I just wanted another deeper, richer tone to be able to add to the brighter colors, like this bright violet, or like the only greens that they had were these permanent green deep, and then permanent green light, and it just wasn't dingy enough for me. So that's why I purchased something like this. But you could probably mix these two. I just, you know, the first time I was buying gouache, I wanted to make sure that I bought stuff that I would utilize. And like I said, I've done gouache on the Stillman and Burn, and I've done gouache on the 100% cotton, and they both seem fine. So all right, moving on to other stuff. So we'll do brushes first. So the brushes that I utilize the most for watercolor are these. These are my travel brushes from Escoda. I have 3, that's it. They're all size 4, and I really like them. I would recommend these 100%. Each one has its own little special feature. So the Ultimo is more for backgrounds, I think, or like places where you just want to get some color down and you are not being precise with it. It does come to a point, but this is a very soft brush. So if I bend it, it's bending with the movement of my hand and it doesn't spring back, okay? So it kind of acts as a squirrel. This is an Ultimo. Now this will spring right back to where it needs to be. It's really good for details or scrubbing at your paper a little bit. It's more of a hardier brush. It's, I don't know if I mentioned, but it's called the Prado, and it acts more like a Kolinsky. And then this is called the Versatile. I think my wording is rubbing off, but this is probably an in-between of both. I think it's soft like the Squirrel, but it springs back like the Squirrel. I should just say Ultimo. So it's soft like the Ultimo, but it springs back like the Prada, and it comes to an extremely fine point. It's great for details. I think if you just wanted one brush, I think this is the way to go, just because it's a mix of both. And I find myself not utilizing these two as much when I happen to just open this one up. So These are my travel brushes, love them. And I like a size 4 because that's kind of my go-to size. And I even noticed that when I got these, I wanted to show you. It comes like this. It's by Dynamic Distraction. I got them off of Amazon. So it comes in this tube and it comes with this case, all wrapped up, really nice and neat. And then when you open it up, has an array of different sizes, which I think is so cool. So this is how it comes, plastic tips and all, and different sizes like this. So if you were interested at all in trying some synthetic brushes that are relatively cheap, I mean, I think I got this for $25, less than $25 on Amazon. I think this is the way to go. I really did push these really far, meaning I would dunk these in water, leave them. I would pull on their bristles. I have literally had no problems. I absolutely love them. They come to really, really fine tips. So these are brand new, but these are ones that I've used. Now this is a 6. I've used a 6 a lot and a 4. Okay, those are kind of my sizes. And look, they're still coming to a really fine tip and point. They do spring back. They're nice and soft. They do hold water. I wouldn't say as much as a real haired brush, but you know me and my love of animals and the environment, so synthetic is the way to go for me. I find these to be pretty amazing. I think this is a really cool deal. I love not only their logo, it's green and it's watercolor, but I also really love that it comes with the case. And it comes with such a good variety of brushes. All right, last but not least, all these painting palettes and things. I love these clips. These are my grandfather's. He was an architect, or maybe this was my mom's. She also went to school for art education, so I use these all the time to clip down my journal. I like these because they are flat inside. I don't know if you can actually see that, but they're flat, so they don't really, I mean, yes, they're gonna leave kind of a mark on your paper, but not as bad of an indent as, say, the Bulldog clips. I really like those. I only have the 2, but the 2 are perfectly fine for me. They work great. My other palettes, some of them are just something that you'd find in the kitchen, and then this is actually a recommended, like, for paint. I got this on Amazon. A lot of people have asked me about this. It is in my Amazon storefront under Watercolor and Gouache, as well as a couple other ones like these 2, and I think different styles. Love this palette. Kind of wish it was double in size, so I might actually buy another one. However, I do have all these other ones, so I wanted to talk about them too. It's broken. It was something for the kitchen where you put different sauces inside. It broke. We don't use it, so I use it for paint. This is actually gouache in here. It works really, really well. This would be something to think about if you have these types of things in the kitchen. And then my last one are these. I got these also. I think I listed these in my Amazon storefront too, under Watercolor and Gouache. Same with these. These are actually coasters. But the cool thing about this is it comes in a pack of 4. And I know you can buy something similar to this with a lid for watercolor. They are coasters, and you can stack them so they take less space. They take up less space. And I really like that. Right now it has gouache and watercolor. So, I mean, you can use them for anything. They clean out nicely because they're all porcelain, so they don't stain. And I really like these. A quick tip, if your porcelain is at all like rough on the edges and you don't want it to scratch anything, you can take sandpaper to the bottom and just sand it off, and they become really smooth. For instance, this one is pretty rough. I don't know if you can hear that, but this one is smooth. I just took some sandpaper to it. That way when I run it on my table, I don't feel like it's scratching it up. It could just be a textural thing, like I feel that it is, and I don't know. But anyway, that's what I do. So I think that is all. If you have any other tips, like for instance the paper, or if you have any other ideas for me for supplies or anything, leave them in the comments below. Next week I will be sharing with you some of my, I guess, gouache paintings, or maybe I'll do a little video on gouache. It's going to be more of a vlog style video, but I'm excited. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great weekend, and until next time, everybody, I'll see ya.